Well, I think comparing to obviously Aceh and Jogja, definitely Padang shows a different kind of impact of disaster, in this case earthquake, that is quite severe in terms of its destructing power. Still, fortunately, I guess there is no tsunami following the earthquake, but when we look at the destruction in buildings, especially concrete buildings, it shows how vulnerable the cities are, both for the population and also for the local economy, because unless something is seriously carried out to make sure that this highly earthquake-prone area is really constructed in such a way that really consider this factor, then it would be always a liability, I guess, for the community and for the region to just do development the way they've done it in the past. So I think that's what's most striking. Definitely the loss of life is regrettable always, but in the case of Padang, from the perspective that they are unnecessarily trapped in buildings that could have been built safer and will not actually cause a loss of life. I think destruction and earthquake is common, but destruction that causes unnecessary loss of life is always regrettable, and that I think that's the most striking aspect that I see, but also in Padang. Yeah, typically in any disaster, the standard tools that have been used is always looking at the monetary value of the damage, which is the direct impact of the earthquake in the form of destruction to properties and facilities, infrastructure, and losses, which is the loss of economic opportunity or economic activities related to the disruption caused by the damage. I think in Padang, what we have managed to do is actually do the traditional damage and loss assessment to calculate how much the impact of the earthquake was, but also in looking at immediate needs for quick recovery and priority rehabilitation and reconstruction, to make sure that first the community are assisted with the necessary actions to rebuild their homes and lives, but also to actually draw lessons on how to build better, not in the sense of necessary value, but also a much more resilient communities, through the better reconstructed houses and buildings, and also economy that are more resilient. So then they have transportation that will not be easily disrupted, school and social activities that can continue even the next day after disaster, so people can quickly heal. So I think the report captured not just the traditional monetary value, but also in terms of the humanitarian and also immediate needs, and this is obviously made possible because, number one, the government showed capacities and interest to go beyond the traditional approach. Then we are talking about definitely different institutions, the BNPB, the Bapenas, and local, provincial and local governments, and also sectoral agencies who have been active, but also the support from international partners such as the UN families, UNDP in particular, and also ADB and some bilateral agencies, including the Australian government through AUSAID. Yeah, housing has always been highest if we look at the number of value of the damage and losses. So definitely there is no question that providing the communities with shelters so they can get back to their life more normally, it's the top priority, and that has to be definitely, in the case of places like Padang, it has to be constructed in such a way that will not prevent similar destruction or massive destruction to happen again. So that's obvious priority, but also equally important is to help normalize the social services such as education, health services, religious activities, which is important for this community, definitely, and definitely last but not the least, economic activity, because if we all know that West Sumatra is places traditionally where trades are part of the almost like a culture, and having that main activity disrupted by destruction of properties and places of business is definitely a major hit, and that hopefully the report would also be able to inform the decision makers on the priority that needs to be undertaken or responded on this area. Report is published by the government decision even during the early stage of the emergency phase, to be at the end of the emergency phase on the 30th of October, which automatically the starting day of the rehab reconstruction. So I think with the commitment and hard work of everyone involved in the government sides, on the local government and partner sides, the report has been able to actually produce on time, allowing actually Bappenas and BNPB to draw up rehabilitation and reconstruction action plan, which is now is in the final draft. So I think time-wise it has been quite timely, and credit goes to all the team members who have been working hard in making it happen.